Hey, welcome to Pivotal Times. I'm here and this is a very special episode. I get the opportunity to introduce you to my beautiful daughter, Miracle Sales. So many of you write in and want to know, well, where are the children? How are the children doing it? How are y'all doing it? Well, we're here at segment 1 to talk a little bit about life in the Sales home. But there's a reason for it, because if you remember, I'm doing a series on apostasy, the great falling away from the faith. And we're here to look at how you can be raised in a Christian home and still yet pulled out of the faith. So many opportunities and so many stories, and yet here we find ourselves in a story about apostasy and apologetics. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for coming. So a little bit about you. Tell us your age and at this time when it's airing, and a little bit about who you are.
Well, my name is Miracle Sales. I am currently 19 years old, about to be 20. I am currently a fitness influencer. I do social media and also personal training and a lot of things dealing with fitness and health. And I'm a nursing major, currently a nursing major. I want to get my RN to become a midwife and help, deliver babies in the field of midwifery.
You and I, of course, know the history and the story of how that came to be. Mm-hmm. But we're not here to talk about that or how you helped to birth number 11 of our children. You were there, and you were there for the home birth and got turned on to the whole industry in that experience. But that's another interview for another day. But what I do want to talk to you about, because so many people have so many questions about how we're raising the children. So I expect that this is going to be one that everybody wants to know. Wow, we finally get to hear from the children, because so often I shield you guys from media and putting you out there. But this particular story needed to be told. So talk to us a little bit about how you were raised. What kind of household were you raised in?
We were raised in a Christian household. It was a lot of us, so we were definitely shielded, but we had community, most definitely had community around us. It was everything that we were watching, that we were taught, was directed by the parents. When college and stuff hit, it was kind of like whatever the foundation was there, I had to figure out whatever foundation was there, it had to remain while everything that wasn't controlled by y'all started coming at me.
Oh, wow. So it's all about the foundation that you would set. Talk to me about what a typical day was like in the Sales household for you.
Yes. Growing up, a typical day, everything was rooted and surrounded around God. Like even down to like when I would write or doodle like on a page, it was I love Jesus or something like that. It was that deeply rooted in us. And down to our conversations with other children, like even when all the other children were brought in from the hood and like from different places, we still had such a strong foundation. When we were a little younger, y'all would put on the TV, but it was a DVR. It wasn't like no internet and stuff like that back then. But y'all put on the DVR and we would just watch something like VeggieTales or anything dealing with, the word. But it was given that root and that foundation over time as we grew. And as we grew, whatever level of maturity we were at, that's what was put on, And then typical day, we would do school, we would do recess, we would hang with the children.
Did you go to public school, private? What was it?
No, I didn't go to public school. I enjoyed being homeschooled personally.
So you were homeschooled?
I was homeschooled. I personally enjoyed it. The only thing I wanted was a sports team, to be on a sports team. Even God provided that for us when I got a little older. But I enjoyed it because I felt like because my mom was a little different, it wouldn't have worked out in a public school setting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just so you all know, we've always homeschooled all of our children. And a typical day now starts at like 7:30. We get up and do what we call Goshen, a place of refuge and a place of worship unto God. And then at 8:30, homeschool begins. It's not just our children, but we have a homeschool network. And then from like 8:30 until 3, we're in class. They also do a tennis academy with South Atlanta Community Tennis Association under Coach Sam Kennedy. So they were always surrounded by a number of different children. It wasn't just our children. We always felt that we wanted you guys connected. So what kind of foundation did that give you? Talk to me about what did you know that they were your beliefs, or were your beliefs your own, or were they kind of just what your parents were about?
It was what my parents were about, definitely. My belief started, I started believing on my own once I turned 16, and I started recognizing who God was outside of the parents and stuff like that, like personally.
Yeah. And what sparked that?
I was in the car with my godfather, and he had left the car, and I was sitting in the car. He had asked me a question, and it opened my head. I believe he asked, like, what's your relationship with the Father like? And I knew he was talking about God. And he had gotten out the car, and I was just sitting there, and that's when I first felt him like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I also know personally that you went through the whole health and fitness reason
That was
that's
after.
there.
Yes.
So talk to us a little bit about that.
Yes. I was always athletic, but I started losing focus, and I did not know how to take care of my health, like, because I had an eating problem, and it was even emotional now that I'm older and I know about it. It was more emotional. It was a way of coping. Mm-hmm. So I would eat or binge eat. I never dealt with like bulimia. I almost dealt with anorexia, but the Lord brought me out through fitness before it could ever go that far. But that's how I met the Lord, through the fitness journey.
Through the fitness journey. Now, you are one of how many sisters?
I'm one of 9.
And where did you find yourself fitting with them? Did you feel like you always knew where you fit, or what was that like?
No, I never felt like I fit in with them. But I know that it's because a lot of it has to do with my other siblings who feel the same way, being able to help them through the process as well.
You know, it's so funny because I've had the same conversation with every sales girl up until around 13. They all say the same thing. I don't know where I fit. I don't feel like I fit in. So for everybody to feel like they don't fit in, I've always like wondered, where's this group?
But you can see the similarities though between some of the sisters.
They say the same thing, the exact same thing. What do you think made you different?
Definitely body. The way that I was a little bit more tomboyish. It took me a minute to even get to a whole girly, more feminine stage. I had to hang with more girls to even get to that stage. I usually hung with the guys. And then on top of that, I felt like I truly thought differently. Like even down to like intellect and academics, I felt like I thought very differently.
Well, yeah, it's interesting because I've heard, they're all this while I'm that. They all think this way, but I've heard every story in the book from every single girl.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Where's the group that everybody's talking about? So you find yourself wondering where you fit in, how you fit in, then you're off to college. What was it like when you hit the campus?
I feel like it takes a village to raise a person. It's not just the parents. Like the parents can only go but so far because your child's going to only tell you what they feel comfortable telling you. So because I had, my mentor, my godfather, there was a lot that I was raised, and a lot of that had to do with how men think, and also how in the environment that I hadn't seen would act. When I went to college, although I was afraid that first month, it kind of hit me really quick. Mm-hmm. And me being different and unique, it wasn't in a way that I was afraid of or lacked confidence in. I was confident in being different like that.
So I know that you and your dad, first of all, you look just like him, right?
Yeah.
There's like total twinning going on there. But what was it like in terms of feeling like protected when you got on that campus? What things had Dad imparted to you that you were able to be able to stand in the midst of that kind of things? What do you think he had given?
Dad gave a lot dealing with strategizing. Dad is a strategist. He's very strategic. So when it came to like how to communicate with people, there's a lot of charisma that I have, and there's also a lot of confidence that I have. And I know I got a lot of that from him, but he's also very intelligent and emotionally aware. So when I communicated with people, it wasn't like I didn't understand or lacked social cues, as people would say homeschoolers do.
Oh, that's good.
I didn't lack any of that. I understood people. There were some things I lacked, but I understood people, and I knew how to get them out of their shell. Most definitely. Now, he's very charismatic.
He is charismatic. I love that about him. So let's talk about the day that you were at the bus stop and you realized, whoa, I don't have my comfort zone around me. Take us back to that moment.
I grew up like I had some type of vengeance against the family. I don't know why, but I was always like, I want to live at so-and-so's house. Like, I want to be here.
You want to move out and move with your friends.
Yes. Like, it was some type of spirit or something I was dealing with. But I didn't know how connected I was to my family till I hit that campus. Like, it was big. There was people around me. I was just like, I don't know about this. So y'all had just driven. Y'all like, all right, you have a good one. So I sat there and I like let out a little tear. I was like, all right, you could cry for like this one, but you gonna have to get up and go. Like, you gotta switch, basically.
Right.
You gotta adapt to your environment. But that was...
Yeah, I remember you saying that you saw people going by and you were like, okay, it's sink or swim moment.
Yeah,
what were
literally.
the emotions going on for you?
That I didn't have support. Like, I always had physical support. I felt like I didn't have it there. I had it emotionally and mentally, but physically my family wasn't there. I was like in a ocean full of fish. Like, I don't know none of y'all. I don't trust none of y'all. And I trusted people then. I trusted people really fast. So it was a little scary. Just because my people were not around me. My village was not around me.
So you're in this moment, which leads me to the reason we're here, right? You're in a state of where my people, but you quickly kind of bounced back from that, right? And started ministering on campus. What led you, how did you make the jump from that moment to actually becoming more evangelical?
It started off with one person, then it just grew and grew. And it really started with the people who were more like my siblings. So when I met those who were a little bit more pure-hearted, a little bit more open to Christ, because I gravitated towards the believers, most definitely. They were my community. I gravitated towards the believers. So when I met people like that, over time, I was able to evangelize and even influence. They went to my page, saw that what I was doing. And that actually, my gift made room for me, most definitely. People saw me throughout the gym and they knew what I was about fitness wise. And they would come up to me and see Christ and ask about Christ. So it was like that.
So you're at the top of your game. You're getting confident that you can minister to people.
I was getting cocky that I could minister to people.
That's cocky. Okay, so
that's what it was.
What it was. So you were getting a little prideful.
Yes.
Right. And then it comes that somebody comes up to you and asks.
They asked me something dealing with the word, the Bible. And I answered them, and they asked me, this was my third day of my fast, mind you. So I was really spiritually aware. I don't know how that, I was really spiritually aware. So when a person came up to me, I thought, oh, like I'm pulling in the people who are of Christ. No, like she came up to me. She had asked me about the third heaven. She started with, do you want to draw closer to God? I said, absolutely. And she asked me if I was a believer. Absolutely. They said something about Jesus over time during the thing. It became less and less about him, but they said something. And then they asked me the questions I didn't know. Mm-hmm. What do you know about the third heavens? I remember that being the main one. And I was like, I don't know. I would like to know though.
Right. So that leads us to part 2. We're going to go ahead and wrap here. I just wanted our audience to know a little bit about how we are raising you all and what you got out of that, how it prepared you for college, right? Yeah. But there's another side to the story, because right when you were fasting and praying and getting comfortable in evangelizing, mm-hmm. then the enemy came in, right?
Yes.
And it's not surprising that he would come during fasting, because he came for Jesus after and during 40 days of fasting. So we're going to put a pin in it here, because I want all of my listening audience, all the parents out there, to actually hear this next segment with how someone who's grounded and rooted in the word and excited about Jesus got involved with a cult, and how we uncovered that that's what it was. So we're going to come back for part 2 of Apostasy. Thank you so much for tuning in as we look at this falling away, right? That's happening in our nation, that's happening in our world, that's talked about in the Bible. As always, these are the kinds of topics that are heavier, right? We can talk about race and culture, but the stealing and the snatching away of souls, that's really Satan's jugular. So we're here to unveil it, uncover it. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, bow before God and stand before man. See you at part 2.